Are back with day 4 or day 5, I can't remember what it is, of top 10 week, where I'm going through and I'm taking your ideas and turning them into videos where I asked you guys to give me some top 10 list ideas. You guys threw them at me, and this person asked me for 6 different clone videos, so I figured I would do one. And so I chose it, and the one I'm doing today is the top 10 clones going into the fall season. So top 10 fall clones. So without further ado, what's good, my great smelling dudes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Randy, aka FragranceDoud, finalizing top 10 week of your great ideas. Again, I sent you guys a community tab post requesting your thoughts and ideas for top 10 lists going into top 10 week. You guys gave me a bunch. If I can't get to them by the end of this week, I will get to them, whether it's next week or 2 months from now. I wrote them all down, and I promised you I'll do them all, and I will do them all. So again, the one that we're doing today, this person asked me for like 5 or 6 different top 10 clone lists, and I guess you don't watch my channel that much because I don't do a lot of clones. With that said, I decided to pick one to finalize all of it. And the person who asked me was right there, and he asked for top 10 fall clones, or top 10 clones going into the fall. And so I do want to let you guys know, I'm not a hater on clones. I don't dislike clones whatsoever. I've tried about 500, and of that 500, it's maybe like 1 to 2% of those I actually find as good or better than the original, and so or like found it that it was necessary to just keep that clone and not buy the original. So I don't own a lot of clones, and the ones that I usually do get in, if I like it, I'll buy the original bottle, and then I'll just give that clone. I gave away like 30 or 40 clone fragrances, whether it was to you or family members at this point in time. So anyway, top 10 fragrances, or top 10 clones going into fall, top 10 fall clones. And I do have a lot of the bottles. Some of them I do want to say I don't have the bottle because I am just going to let you know I've tried them or owned them previously, and I know that they should be on this list. But I am going to do a few runners up just so I'm not doing a bunch, and I was thinking about them afterwards. One is a clone of MFK's Grand Soir, and that is Eternal Oud by Lattafa. It's a very cool looking bottle. It has like an upside down tree or antlers or something. It's a really, really cool looking bottle. It's amber, vanilla, lavender. It's a very, very good interpretation on MFK's Grand Soir, which is one of the best amber fragrances out there. And the other one is Borouj Perlador, which is a very, very, very good clone of Parfums de Marly Carlisle. If you don't want to get Carlisle and spend that money, that is the one. I have tried 4 different Carlisles, and while there is one other one from Zoha Aroma that does Carlisle very well, the best one, the best Carlisle clone that I have tried is Borouj Perlador. But I will put all of the names of what I'm saying in the description just in case you want to find them. I am going to get the ones that I don't have the bottles with me out of the way first. First one is Paris Corners. I believe it's Paris Corner. Yeah, I think it's Paris Corner. It's what I always call as a joke, Rifaaqat, but it's Paris Corners Rifaaqat. Again, if I'm saying the name wrong, sorry. I never looked and saw what the real name was because we were always joking around calling it Rifaaqat. So with that said, again, it's a clone of Baby Cat. And again, this is one of those reasons why I will not buy the bottle, is because I got a decant from one of my moderators of the Paris Corner. And I also had 2 other decants that they sent me, also clones of YSL's Baby Cat. Ross from TLTG sent me this 20 milliliter decant of Baby Cat, and I tried all 4, and I said Baby Cat's still the best one, but the closest one, and one that I would recommend to everybody else to buy, is Paris Corners Rifaaqat. And I just will not buy that because I want Baby Cat so much. And it's not that I wouldn't buy, like if Baby Cat was discontinued, I would 100% buy the Paris Corner, 1000%. I mean, it's great, and nobody would know the difference. It's just, I want the Baby Cat. That's just the way I am. And so and I understand spending more money, but there is a little bit of a quality difference. But this is one of those 1 to 2% fragrances where I'm telling you that I have a lot of fragrances that I've tried a lot of clones, and there's that 1 to 2% that are almost as good as the original or better, and this one is almost as good as the original. So that's Paris Corners Rifaaqat. That's really, really good. All right, so the next one on my list is the only other one that I don't have a bottle for. Again, because I have the original, which is Kismet Angel Share, there's absolutely no reason for me to buy that. I'm not the kind of person to just buy things for videos. And so I received a decant from Mo, one of my moderators, so thanks Mo, of Kismet Angel. And I've tried a bunch of different Angel Share clones. I've tried Angel Share oils, and of all of them, Kismet Angel is probably the best one. There's a lot that get really close. Kismet Angel seems to be the one that is trying to actually do a full dupe of Angel Share, and it does it very nicely. You still get that warm, boozy cinnamon bun drink, as I call it. But yeah, it's Kismet Angel. It's very inexpensive, and it comes in kind of like a tacky-looking version bottle of the Angel Share, the apple brandy on the. I brought apple brandy on accident, but you know what the bottles look like. So yeah, it's Kismet Angel. It's a clone of apple brandy on the Angel Share. Now I'm getting myself confused, and it smells great. It's a great fall fragrance for sure. But now going into the ones that I do have bottles of. This one is the only one that I got 4 from this house. They sent them to me like when I had like 400 subscribers, and I was like, a lot of people hate on this house, but I tried 2 and they sucked, and I tried 2 and they were really nice. This is one of the ones that were really nice. This is Dossier's Woody Tobacco, and it is a clone-ish of Replica Jazz Club. But I actually like this better than Jazz Club. This does have that like ambery spiced background that you get from Jazz Club, but this is more of this dry and dusty woods with that ambery spiced sweetness on top of it. And I actually really like it. And not only that, but they have nice bottles. They have magnetic caps. I mean, you can get these at Walmart. I mean, when I got them in, there was so many ads all over the place from people, and I was like, this is one of those houses that they're going to suck. They do so many ads that they make money. But honestly, I mean, so the other 2, like the Lost Cherry one and stuff, it sucked. But the Woody Tobacco was actually a really nice fragrance. So if you're looking for an inexpensive version of Jazz Club that does an inspired by twist, that is more of like a spicy, it's almost like a more masculine version of Jazz Club, Woody Tobacco is great by Dossier. Very, very nice going into fall for sure. Then we're going to get a little bit more on the luxurious, more masculine, manly side, and this is by Fragrance World. It is Suits. Fragrance World Suits. I guess you probably don't know what this is a clone of. Suits Tuxedo. YSL's Tuxedo. This is one of those cases, kind of like the Rifaaqat. Rifaaqat. This is one of those cases where I decided I don't need to buy the original because I tried the original Tuxedo next to Suits and next to, was it Maison Alhambra's version of it? I can't remember. The Tux, whatever that was. Was that Maison Alhambra? And I tried all of them, and while I think the Tux was the better of the 2 clones as far as getting as close as you possibly can, because that's almost like a one-on-one dupe. That one at that point in time was completely, it disappeared. I couldn't find it anywhere, and it was like $70-$80 when it did come back. So I went and tried this one out, and I can tell you this one gets it almost as close. It just has a little bit of this kind of like leathery twist to it that's a little bit stronger than what you get with the original Tuxedo. But this is good enough to me where you don't need YSL's Tuxedo anymore. So it still is the ambery, it still is kind of like that fruity leather. It's just the leather is a little bit more pronounced in Suits. That's the only difference, and I absolutely love it. The quality is untouchable in comparison. It's still on par with Tuxedo. And while Tuxedo is better than the other 2, it's just I the DNA isn't like such a love for me that I needed to buy that. And so in this situation, Suits was exactly what I needed. It's something that I won't wear very often because that style of DNA is just unsuitable for my lifestyle. But I will get wears out of it if I'm looking for something like that. So going into the next one, this is actually a new release that I recorded my first impression of, but I haven't even released it yet because I didn't edit it. But I needed to add it into this video. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the original fragrance, which is also a new release, this is a clone of Parfums de Marly Altair, and this is Golden Ember by Zoha Aroma. Golden Ember, it's Parfums de Marly Altair. It's bourbon vanilla. It is a little bit of spice mixed in there, but it's like 20 bucks. I mean, you don't really need to look at the quality or anything because in Altair, it's built around synthetics. And so in that fragrance, you're not going to have, like, bourbon vanilla is not naturally occurring fragrance oil. While vanilla is, that style is not. The amber is not. And so it's a synthetically made fragrance anyway. And so that's why this one was able to get as close as you can to the original Altair. So if you're looking for Parfums de Marly Altair for like $250 off, here you go. Zoha Aroma Golden Ember. I'm telling you, it's. I don't really like Altair that much, but when I got this, and I was like, hey, I could actually wear it. I mean, because it's something that if I'm interested in wearing that style of DNA, even though again I'm not a huge fan of it. Then there we go. We got a $25 version that smells like a $200 version. So that's Zoha Aroma's Golden Ember. Very, very nice. It was just released like a month ago. So anyway, going into another one that I think this is still around. I know they got sued. They got sued because the bottles look like the original bottles from the other companies, but I'm pretty sure that they re-released them online. I don't know if the lawsuit was dropped or anything, but it's a clone of Ombre Leather. It is Maison Alhambra's Amber and Leather. It's amber and leather. It's literally ombre leather, but slightly cheaper. That's like as far as like the smell. Yeah, I don't really need to say much more about it. Ombre leather is ombre leather. It's either you think it smells like a leather couch, or you can depict different facets of it, and it smells like a high quality, expensive leather couch mixed together with a little bit of fruits and spice and amber and musk and whatever you can pick from it. It's a leather ambery fragrance, and they aptly named it Amber and Leather. And it smells just like if you took ombre leather and just dialed up the synthetics just a slight tad. That's really what you have with this. And so, I mean, amber and leather, again, they're synthetically made oils, and so either way it's how they mask them, and in ombre leather it's just masked a little bit better. But as far as ombre leather clones, amber and leather, you can get it for under $20, at least you could, and it smells so much. It's like 97% close to it. There's not much else that you need to look for. It's a very simplistic style, and so what can I say? Just like the Parfums de Marly Altair, simplistic. And you can't really go wrong with a simplistic 2 to 3 note heavy fragrance. Anyway, going into the last 4. This one, another very inexpensive fragrance, and it's a clone of what people think is Xerjoff Naxos, but it's actually a clone of discontinued Mugler's Amen Pure Havane. This is Insurrection 2 Wild by Reyane Tradition. Honey, amber, tobacco. It's like $12 to $15 depending on where you get it. I think Fragrance Buy had it for like 12 bucks. They actually had it for $6 last year on one of their deals. But Reyane Tradition Insurrection 2 Wild, it literally just smells like Pure Havane. Again, it's another one of those synthetically made fragrances. There's no natural oils in this style. I mean, maybe the tobacco in Naxos might be a little bit more natural. But even in that case, when you come to Mugler's Amen Pure Havane, that's synthetically made, and it's how it's masked, and they're masked. I mean, honestly, if Pure Havane was out at the same exact time as this fragrance, and I did a one-on-one comparison, which I still own Pure Havane, but I would tell you that this one gets it like so close that it might not even be. It's reasonable to say that it's not. You don't need to buy the more expensive version. I mean, honestly, this is so close to Pure Havane that it's the honey ambery tobacco. Again, it's simplistic. It's just the only thing that the Mugler has is it has that kind of chocolatey patchouli that all of them have. And so that's why I say it's like 95 to 97%. Basically, take Pure Havane and subtract that chocolatey patchouli. You still get patchouli in this. It just doesn't come off like the Mugler. They do that form of patchouli that just nobody else can do. You smell it, and you're like, yep, that's an Amen flanker. Well, this one, it smells so close to the Amen Pure Havane. So if you wanted to know what it smelled like, get that fragrance for $12. That's Reyane Tradition Insurrection 2 Wild. Going into the next one. This is one that I actually gave to my daughter. She wears it every once in a while. I'm not sure how often, but this is Badee Oud Sublime. Badee Oud Sublime. A lot of people don't know what it's a clone of. It's a clone of Kayali's Eden Apple. That's basically what it is with a twist. It's kind of like an inspired by version of that, which is, it's a warm, ambery, appley fragrance that smells like tropical fruit punch. It's a little bit more fresh, but I honestly think that this is a great fall fragrance as well because it has that kind of like Kool-Aid marker on it. It smells very, very nice. It also has this slight ambery undertone to it, but I mean, it's tropical fruit punch. It depends on where you live, but this should be good for the fall for pretty much anywhere you live. I mean, mid-range temperatures, 40 to 70 degrees is what you're looking at in the fall. That's what this one's made for. You can also wear it in higher or lower temperatures, but Badee Oud Sublime, I know it's not a one-to-one clone of Eden Apple, but it was definitely inspired by it. So, yeah, very, very good fragrance. Going to the last two. I'm saving my favorite one, at least my new favorite one, for last, but this is my second to my favorite out of all of them. This is a clone of Red Tobacco, and it's the only clone that I've ever tried that I like better than the original. This is Paris Corner's Amir Wilden Tobacco. As soon as I smelled this, I was like, yep, it doesn't have the harshness. So Red Tobacco, if you smell that before, some people get this a little bit of harshness in the opening to it. Well, I get that. And it does dissipate, and I still do like Red Tobacco. But I do have to say, they brought this out, and it just completely dissipated that. And it made it, that saffron is even amped up a bit. It smells literally like Mancero's Red Tobacco without that harsh opening. That's what this smells like in general. I mean, beautiful, rich and moist tobacco. It has the spice to it. It has a little bit of the warmth and sweetness. A little bit of that ambery undertone. It's fantastic. It's 100% a clone of Red Tobacco, but better. That's all I have to say about it. I've said it 100 times. Every time I do a clone top 10 list, especially for cool weather, this one has to be in it. So if you're interested in it all in the Red Tobacco, or you get that harshness from the Red Tobacco, at least try this one out. Give yourself a chance to like that DNA. Anyway, so going into the last one. This one is one that I just got in about 3 weeks ago, but it's a clone of one of my favorite fragrances of all time that has been discontinued, so I might just be in this kind of like, oh, I finally got to smell this DNA again, because the last time I smelled the original from this was like 4 years ago, 3 years ago maybe, but this is Wild Plum by Zoha Aroma, which again is a clone of Plum Japonais by Tom Ford, which they're bringing a lot of Tom Fords back, and I really hope that they bring that back. I had a few drops left, but it kind of soured out. But I used to own a bottle, and now I don't. But Wild Plum, clone of Plum Japonais, and it does it fantastically. It's a darker, woodier plum fragrance, so you do get the fruits in there. If you've never smelled Plum Japonais, I recommend going out and at least seeing if you can get a decant of it, or again trying this, and then you'll know. I'll give you the notes so you're familiar. Cinnamon, plum, saffron, plum blossom, liquor, oud, and amber. So again, you get that darker oudy tones, you get the spices, you get that amber, giving it some resinous tones, you get that nice fruity plum, and you get a little bit of the floral from the plum blossom, and then there's definitely some more facets to the fragrance. I think there's a little bit of tonka and vanilla in the fragrance as well, but sweet, dark, rich, warm, wild plum. Does plum Japonais. It's not 100% plum Japonais, but it's like 92-ish. Like it's almost there. There's some definite quality noticeable quality differences, but that was also my favorite fragrance, so I'm being very picky. But if you're looking for a plum Japonais clone, this one is going to be inspired by, but very, very close. So yeah, that Zoha Aroma's Wild Plum, which is funny because there was a fragrance I was working on for myself, and I was actually going to call it Wild Plum, so that's pretty funny. But anyway, so yeah, let me know some of your favorite clones going into the fall, but that ends top 10 week. I appreciate all of you guys for your list ideas, and again, next week, I'll probably throw 1 or 2 more of the list ideas in there, but thank you so much. I'll see you guys on my live on Monday. Thank you so much. Peace out.